Hi, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining me this evening. There's so many things that have been taking place these last few weeks and months, and sometimes they actually cause distractions. But one of the things I wanted to say to you is I wanted to stop by and just see how you're doing and whether or not you want to share some of the things that you have been experiencing. One another thing I wanted you to know is that there's a feeling that I have that we need to stay balanced and we need to be able to just kind of let things go kind of quickly by and observe and stay centered. Just stay centered. Now, I say that going across the board. I really do say that going across the board because we have to take responsibility for what we allow to keep us centered and what we allow to throw us off center, if that makes any sense to you. Because these are changing times. Everything is moving so quickly. Can you imagine being a person who's 100 years old or 80 years old or 90 years old at this time and seeing the difference between when they were your age and here they are now dealing with all of these new things? I mean, all of the technology and from even something as simple as social media going all the way up to AI and beyond. Life is definitely different. Life is definitely different and is moving very swiftly and quickly. And we just hope that the reality that we're creating is a good one, a strong one. I guess one of the things that really made me decide to talk with you, speak with you this evening, is because I was wondering what is your opinion about the young people? How do you think they're handling all this shifting sand? What do you think is going on in their minds? We already know that the elders are probably have lots and lots of questions. Those that are cognizant, you know, they have a lot of questions. I'm sure I would, especially at these times. But I'm just wondering, what are the young people thinking? In my community, I recently heard, well, not so recent, but recently, 38 schools were closed. Of course, they were in a disenfranchised community, and the funding was going to the private schools and on and on. I went to private schools. I understand that journey. But the thing about it is that during my day, they wasn't taken from the public school where I was. But now they are. They took from the public school to add to the private school. But what happens to those students? Because who's to say that there's not a diamond in the rough in one of these schools? Somebody who is very gifted, very talented, has skill sets that even people like the banking industry would be interested in. Because that's an article I read recently from Forbes magazine where they were talking about that. They were talking about dyslexics, you know. And not only that, even recently there was something on YouTube about dyslexic, not even dyslexic, but savants. But I say all of that to say you could have a very gifted person that's right inside your house with you, but because they're not attending school, not that they were doing that great when they were in school now, because there's a strong possibility that they were not for whatever the reasons. But you have that child in your apartment, in your house, in your care at this time, and there's no school on the horizon as far as you can see. What do you do? Because you can't sit there and just have the child do nothing or run rampant. So, what do you do? Have you thought of that? Do you have any kind of thoughts about that? It seems to me, even though we're moving forward, it seems like there are certain aspects that is moving backwards because that seemed like something that had transpired maybe quite a few years ago, like early 1900s, coming forward, maybe even as recent as 1950s, where there were some that were not in school and some that were in school, and but the only difference is in some communities there was exactly that, a community. And the only thing that I'm hoping is that while all of this eruption, disruption, all of this is taking place, that the young people have a place to go to be balanced, drink a cup of water, warm water, you know, Just be able to sit still for a minute and not feel the energy, that heightened energy that makes you step off centered. They need to stay as close to center as possible because we don't even know how much it's impacting you. We really don't even know how much it's impacting them. But it is, right? They just haven't said anything to anyone. I'm concerned about the young people. And as I said before, 38 schools closed, disenfranchised community. The nearest school is 23 miles away. That doesn't sound too good, not even slightly good. So the only thing that I think that we can do at this time is really those that are close to young people, expand your community. And let me tell you a story. This is really where I'm getting this idea from. Let me tell you a short story. I was in California quite a few years ago and met a person there. I was actually living in California and I was doing a lot of media stuff at that time. And I met a person there that was coming in from out of state. And one of the things that he was involved with was the fact that he was coming in with his business and he was going to be pitching it to the city of Sacramento at the time. And I thought that was absolutely fascinating because there was very few Nijis and there was very few people of color. There was very few blacks who were pitching anything to the city as far as I could see at that time. And this young man, he and I engaged in a conversation and he was telling me his background. So he was from the hood. He was from a single household, single head of household, mother, only child. But the community raised him. All the community gangsters and all the people that lived in his community on the low income side of the fence, the disenfranchised communities, they rallied around this young man and they told him that they wanted him to get out of the mess that was going on in the community. And they actually made sure that he stayed out of trouble. And that was one of the things that he was sharing with me. He actually stayed out of trouble because these people had surrounded him with love and information, made him do his homework, made sure that he went home, and he was never really alone. And he wasn't being sexually abused by some adult either. He was just really a young child who had an opportunity to actually graduate from high school. And when he graduated, he said that the guys, there was two guys in particular that were really like his uncles, and they would take turns making sure that he was okay while the mother worked full time. I think she had two jobs, something like that, to make ends meet. Real story. So this guy had become very smart. He used street knowledge, stayed out of trouble, created his own business, graduated from college, and decided that he was going to expand his business. And here he was now in Sacramento, California, pitching to the mayor at that time. I saw him later on before he left, and he did land his contract, which I figured he would because he had that persona. But I'm sharing that story with you because to me, I held on to it because I've seen that also. But I don't see that as much now. And I'm hoping during this period that we're in, that we're able to bring that back. Even if you live in 20 people inside a room, there's a way of just being kind to each other and supporting each other and having an outlook and creating a reality that you truly desire and not one that you're sitting in or one that you don't. Just having that ability to remember who you are, the greatness you possess, the reason why you're here on this planet. Write a story. Write your story. Tell your story. And just don't give up. You don't give up. Yes, we're in changing times, and it's always darkest before the dawn, they say. Now let's see where we're going. I wish you a lot of love and light, and I also say to you, don't forget who you are. Remember to create the reality that you truly do desire, not one that you don't. My name is NJ Evans, and this is the evening drive home. I look forward to speaking with you again soon. Ciao.